Is there a consensus yet as to whether or not people who used to sell in person should be moving back to selling in person, or do you feel like the consensus is still like, okay, we should keep doing these Zooms, keep doing these Google meetings, keep doing these Skypes? Are you getting any consensus yet, or is it really a personal decision that people are making?
I think it's personal. I think for me, I'm enjoying and loving the fact that you could be a lot more productive. Like, if I've been to a client already, I'm not so sure how much more value I'm going to do by going to their office again to cover certain things. But then there's going to be times where it's going to be very, very necessary. And so I think it's a combination. I think you got to, a good friend of mine who's a mentor to me, he says, you don't check your brains at the door. You gotta kind of like think a little bit and say, okay, what's going to make the most sense here? But I think what's good about the virtual meetings is I find people are more open or willing to actually make a meeting virtual than not. If it's a face-to-face, they're a little more protective of their calendar. So you could get a lot more done, a lot more meetings accomplished virtually. But the crucial ones, if it's possible, many times it'd be great if you could do it in face-to-face.
Yeah, it's sort of funny because I've gone back to this idea I had several years ago about somebody being lunch worthy or dinner worthy. Like, either because I could help them or they could help me, or it would be just an interesting person to talk to because,
Yeah.
You have a limited amount of time, but you have even less sort of business meal times, right? So you sort of really, if you're going to do a lunch, not only do you have the entire time of the lunch blocked off, but you got to get to the restaurant, right? So you could end up destroying a big chunk of your day to do that. So have you heard any sort of words of wisdom, for those people who were heavy lunchers or after work drink people or dinners, right? Are they still using the same kind of lunch worthy, dinner worthy scale in setting up their calendars?
I haven't heard anything about that. But I for myself, I definitely have a tendency now. I got a message from somebody who said, I really want to, meet with you. He said, can we meet face to face? And I'm respectful, but I said, let's start with Zoom. And then if perhaps the next meeting we could look to go, do it something face to face in person. So I think that to me, that makes sense, right? Because I was spending a good amount of time, money, cheap coffee, or, hopefully nobody gets offended. I'm not a big Starbucks guy. To me, it tastes really burnt, but I like Dunkin' Donuts. But Starbucks is a great place to go. And of course, I'd support. If I'm going to sit in their chair, in their table, I'm going to support. I'm going to get a cup. But there was a lot of coffee and money on diners, spent on, things that were just, it was nice, but not really adding any value for either party.